What is a good minimum following distance? A. 1 second. B. 2 seconds. C. 3 seconds. D. 10 seconds. What is a good minimum following distance? C. 3 seconds. The following distance describes the gap between your car and the car in front of you. Under ideal driving conditions, a good minimum following distance to employ is the 3-second rule. Some may recommend a 2-second following distance. That means there is at least a 3-second gap between the front of your car and the rear of the car in front of you. In good conditions, this gives you enough space to adjust, maneuver, and react to potential hazards ahead. Which lines indicate passing is allowed if there are no oncoming cars? A. Broken yellow. B. Solid yellow. C. Double yellow. D. Solid white. A. Broken yellow lines indicate passing is allowed if there are no oncoming cars. Different colors and configurations of lane markings communicate which types of moves are allowed from the lane you are traveling in. You may only enter into the opposite lane of traffic to pass vehicles moving in the same direction as you when there is a broken yellow line on your side of the road. If the broken yellow line is on your side, you are allowed to enter into the opposite lane to make a pass as long as there are no oncoming vehicles. You are not allowed to park within how many feet of a railroad crossing? A. 20 feet. B. 30 feet. C. 40 feet. D. 50 feet. You are not allowed to park within D. 50 feet of a railroad crossing. Doing so can create a hazard, and can result in having your vehicle towed. You must only park in areas where parking is allowed or indicated by a parking sign. The reason you must keep the immediate areas around a railroad crossing clear is so that you don't create congestion. Parking too close to a railroad crossing can cause traffic to back up near the tracks, create a hazard in an emergency, and create additional risk for drivers crossing the tracks. As you approach a roundabout, you should A. Slow down. B. Speed up. C. Come to a complete stop. D. Continue at the same speed. As you approach a roundabout, you should A. Slow down. Roundabout intersections are designed to be taken at a slower speed since you are driving around a curve. As you approach a roundabout, you should reduce your speed and be prepared to yield to drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists that are already in the roundabout. Many roundabouts have a recommended speed limit of 15 miles per hour. Larger roundabouts may have a higher recommended speed. You drive defensively when you A. Drive at the posted speed limit at all times. B. Only use your mirrors to check traffic behind you. C. Constantly scan for hazards. D. Keep your eyes fixed in one position. You drive defensively when you C. Constantly scan for hazards. A big part of defensive driving is constantly scanning the road ahead, behind, and around you for potential hazards. You need to be able to spot hazards early so that you have enough time to react and adjust in order to prevent them from becoming a problem. Highway hypnosis is related to A. Staring at the road ahead for too long. B. Actively scanning the road around you as you drive. C. Driving when you are too tired. D. Driving under the influence. Highway hypnosis is related to A. Staring at the road ahead for too long. Highway hypnosis can occur during long trips when you fixate on the road in front of you for too long. Staring straight ahead without actively scanning the road around you can place you in a zoned-out daze. This can cause you to fail to spot hazards like cars changing lanes, slowing down, or stopping. Highway hypnosis can make you cause an accident or crash into something. Many cars will begin to float in as little as how much standing water? A. 3 feet. B. 2 feet. C. 1 foot. D. 6 inches. Many cars will begin to float in as little as D. 6 inches of standing water. Flooded roadways are extremely dangerous. Many vehicles can begin to float in as little as 6 inches of water. When that occurs, you will have no control over your vehicle. Moving water can quickly wash you and your vehicle away, and cars can become flooded very quickly. If you come across a flooded road or area of standing water, do not attempt to drive across it. If you do not have what, always drive with your low beam headlights on. A. Daytime running lights. B. High beam headlights. C. Hazard lights. D. Fog lights. If you do not have A. Daytime running lights, always drive with your low beam headlights on. Most modern cars are equipped with daytime running lights. These types of headlights go on automatically when the car is started. If you have an older vehicle or a car that's not equipped with daytime running lights, it's a smart idea to turn on your low beam headlights when you drive. The reason for using your headlights during the day is to increase your visibility. If a school bus is stopped and has its red lights flashing, you must A. Stop and then proceed as long as you don't see any children. B. Stop until the red lights are done flashing. C. Slow down to 15 miles per hour. D. Pass the school bus on the right. If a school bus is stopped and has its red lights flashing, you must B. Stop until the red lights are done flashing. A school bus that is flashing its red lights is actively picking up or dropping off children. Sometimes, the flashing red lights will be accompanied by an extended stop sign as well. Whenever you approach a school bus with its red lights flashing, you are required to stop and remain stopped until the school bus stops flashing its lights. This rule applies to traffic moving in either direction. The only exception to the rule is that drivers on the opposite side of a divided highway are not required to stop for a school bus with its red lights flashing. In a school zone, when must a driver stop? A. When children are crossing the street. B. When a school bus is stopped with its red lights flashing. C. When instructed to do so by a crossing guard. D. In all of these situations. In a school zone, when must a driver stop? D. In all of these situations. School zones are places where drivers need to use extra caution, scan the road around them, and obey all traffic signs and warnings. School zones can be a dangerous area due to the fact that small children may be entering the road. Additionally, traffic in school zones can get backed up as parents pick up and drop off their kids. It is highly important to slow down and stop when necessary in order to keep the children and school faculty safe. Great job! Here are some of your next steps to getting your learner's permit or driver's license. Read and study the official driver handbook from your state DMV. Take more free practice tests at puedomanejar.com. Gather all your necessary forms and documents before you visit the DMV office. Before you know it, you'll be driving in your very own car all by yourself. puedomanejar.com. Free DMV practice tests and much more to help you pass your real exams. Visit us today.